This is from a song called Temperamental. It's got pretty simple chord kind of progression in it where it just goes E, D, and A, you know. Little G thing at the end. But I wanted to make it a little bit, I don't know, just more exciting guitar sounding. So I put little licks in each chord. Let me show you how some of that goes. First thing is just the open B, little pull off on the G string. Really very similar to an E chord. Little blues thing. A little slide. One of my favorite parts, where I just alternate different notes with that open A. And the last G sounds like this. Kind of a swing feel too. You can throw in other little bluesy things like your Here's a lick from my first instructional video, which I played but didn't explain. I did it in the intro solo, and a lot of people who have heard this one part seem to really dig it and want to know how to do it. So here's how. It sounds like this. It's sort of one of those harmonic minor-ish sounding. Let's get that kind of mysterious sound, and there's a lot of string skipping in it. Basically, I just use those top three notes on the high E string, up and down, and then alternate between different notes out of that scale on other strings. So, for instance, if you start with the B string, I'd do that right there, and just go between them. I'm picking almost everything, but not quite everything. Let's see what I don't pick. The part that I'm not picking is the descending part on that high E string. Everything else is picked, but when I go, I do two pull-offs. And then let's try adding the notes on the G string next. I like this because it's the same frets as on the high E string. And then you can alternate with the B and the G strings. And if you want to get really crazy, you can go down to the D string which is actually an octave away, but ends up being a whole step higher in position from the one on the high E string. Pretty big stretch there in as string skips go. You know, you have a lot of strings to skip over. So you might want to slow that down first and practice it a little bit. And if you want to get even crazier, you can go down to the A string. Do those notes there. And you can also do the low E. A little quicker. Yes, it's true, there is an instrumental, heavy metal sound and tune in this video, and this lick is from it. The song is called Metal Dog, and you'll probably recognize this. Actually a real good exercise, and it's funny because when people ask me how I pick fast, a lot of times I just tell them it's like scratching a dog, hence the title. So, or scratching an itch, or scratching your guitar there. Actually, it takes a lot of coordination with your right hand because you have to do it on those accent notes. You go down, up, down, up, down, up. And that's kind of confusing at first, but if you practice it, you'll get it. So let me do that a little quicker with some more distortion. Taking up an octave, you can put other notes in there. It has a real tight rock sound to it. That one I use the E as the low note, and I use the C and a B for the upper notes. I did a little thing where I went down to the A. Well, here it is, an acoustic guitar, and I've never been really that great of a finger picker, and I want to show you a few things that I've been able to figure out with some limited finger picking technique. Basically, I have a real hard time if I have to use more fingers than my thumb and this finger, and so it's pretty simple. Usually, if I use my thumb, it's like a downstroke, and if I use this finger, it's like an up. Occasionally in this song, I do some almost kind of sweep